son presidentes Kabir Yakne Makir Uwatak Bin Bujata Yasan Kotir rest in peace legend Atam Nanu Dalama and the Quirlu never queen ban. And the Quirlu never queen ban. And the Quirlu never queen ban. But you know, I and Jamuk to Aragol. I and Manjamuk to Aragol. In Gayati, Jinaki, Jordango, and Yanabana. In Gayati, Jinaki, Jordango, and Yanama. Wede manya chagamo, wede unya chapingen, wede manya chagamo, kachi unya lila bawengba, chi unya lila bawengba, kachi unya lila bawengba, kachi unya lila bawengba. And the Quirlu never queen ban, and the Quirlu never queen ban, but you know, and the Quirlu never queen ban, and the Quirlu never queen ban, but you know, I and Jamuk to Aragol. I and Manjamuk to Aragol. In Gayati, Jinaki, Jordango, and Yanabana. In Gayati, Jinaki, Jordango, and Yanama. Wede manya chagamo, wede unya chapingen, wede manya chagamo, kachi unya lila bawengba, chi unya lila bawengba. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whatever you tune in, this is Concerned Citizen of South Sudan going live. It is March
19, 2024. As you can see below the screen, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Clubhouse today. And you can see here below the screen our topic today. President Kiir instructed his newly appointed Minister of Finance and Planning, of course, chemical engineer, Mr. Awou Daniel, to do an economic shock up. The money finance genius had miserably failed. That's an interesting topic today. We meant to discuss this topic, as I said always, and I continue, to say that President Kiir actually is using political deception to numb people of South Sudan in order to continue, you know, ruling the nation for a very long time, ruling the nation until the end of his life, as Kwalmanyang explained last year. And that's why people of South Sudan need to wake up. They need to rise up. They need to know their right, because this thing has been continuing for a very long time. Since 2005, you may count them. How many ministers of finance President Kiir has appointed? And always, 2 years, 1 year, couple months, and then he will firing them. It's become a model for President Kiir to get away or to do away with corruption, to do away with this failed leadership. He will appoint Minister of Finance, and of course, it will come up with this trick. And sometimes I doubt maybe he has some agreement with these people, because there is no way you can appoint somebody today and then maybe a couple of months later you will fire that person and blame the issue on that person. It can be, if you are someone with mental conviction, you have to notice. You have to notice that there is something wrong here. President Kiir can be right always. Can be right since 2005 all the way to 2024. Pointing this and is blaming all the failures on ministers of finance. They are the one that causing problem. Of course, this is what we call it, a political deception that they have been using, because people of South Sudan actually are very patient, are very generous. They don't rush to conclusion. They give you an opportunity. They give you a chance. And they have given more than chance that actually President Kiir has needed. If President Kiir needed, if he's giving 100 years, of course, I doubt he's going to live 100 years. If he's giving 100 years to fix the country, or to, to deliver the services, or to be able, to plan a developmental project in the country, it will never, ever do that, because the history, or he has proven to the people of South Sudan again and again and again that he cannot do it. He is not do it, and he is not interested in doing it. He is there to serve his own interests. That's why he is in the presidency, and he's using excessive forces. He's so brutal, and that's why no one in the country actually can speak up. People are fear, to death. So I want to bring that issue to your attention, actually, because there are some people do not understand this. The tactic that President Kiir have been using, the ideas of firing and hiring, firing and hiring, whether he's a minister of finance or a minister of whatever, can be in the country. This is what he has been using for quite some time. When it's squeezed, because he has been squeezed for a long time. But one more time, because people are so generous and patient. They are dying from hunger, from diseases, from insecurity, from you name it, so many issues in the country, and he is involved in grand corruption, as described on the National Dialogue Steering Committee report. But he does not care. But I wanted to connect the dots. What I have been talking for a very long time, since 2018, 2017, and up to date, I have been saying that President Kiir actually is using political deception always. Always, always, always. If he wanted to divert the attention of the people, okay, it will come up with this an idea that to fire someone. And firing someone and saying that, okay, now we fire Minister of Finance or Minister of, whatever. And people would say, okay, actually, Minister of Finance was the problem. But in reality, ministers, they never are problems. All the ministers, all the genius economists, that been through Ministry of Finance, they are not the problem. The problem is the engine, as I described last episode that we conducted here. The problem is not Minister of Finance. The problem is not ministers in the government. The problem is the president. The president that does not want this country to see the light at the end of the tunnel. He wants to rule, because by giving that opportunity, the people of South Sudan, more will be asked. So he will fire you, and then it will come to the public, or it will say, as I put it here on Clubhouse, it will instruct it, will just for a public consumption, will be talking and saying that I instructed Minister of Finance to do 1 and 2 and 3, to do this and do this and do that. But in reality, actually, there is nothing Minister of Finance is going to do. And that's why I call it, there may be a pre-deal that he's making with these ministers. Unless he's making a pre-deal with these ministers, say that I will hire you, and then I know this is the problem, nothing you can do. I will hire you, and then in a few months or 1 year later, when people are become more fatigued and there is more problem, and then I will fire you, and then you take all the blame. But you know what? We will pay you. We will cut you a big check. So take the blame and cut you a big check, and then go away. And this has become a model for President Kiir. And that's why no one can say that actually Agagashvili, the former Minister of Finance, cannot fix economy, because he came up with modality. And then the other guy, DR, also came up with modality how they can fix this economy. But they got fired, because actually whenever you wanted to do it right, you will not be able, to maintain. And Elena Eliane actually did not fall short in his last, interviews, when he spoken and said, Mr. Barnaba Bak is not going to be different than the former ministers of finance. You are not going to be different. The problem is not you. The problem is not genius South Sudanese actually economists who actually been there. The problem is the presidency. The problem that actually they're the kleptocracy, and we keep talking about kleptocracy. Al-Hakuma al-Bolisiya, kleptocracy that actually have created ring, create a ring with President Kiir, so they can loot, they can eat, they can continue, to maintain this power and take whatever they wanted to do. This kleptocracy actually hiring, money laundering. They call themselves businessmen, and I said this in numerous times. The oil will be sell out, and then they will divide, the cake among themselves, and the money will not be deposited to Central Bank of South Sudan. The Ministry of Finance will not receive anything. And that's why there will be no way for salaries to be paid. There will be no salary to be paid, because the money actually has been divided among colleagues, among those, close to President Salva Kiir. That's how we've been ruling country. But I want people to understand, and I don't know why it's taking long for the people of South Sudan to understand this. I don't know. People of South Sudan are very smart. These are the same people actually, collectively went to Bilfam from all corners of the region. They went along because they were fighting their common enemy. Now their common enemy is in J1, and he has been actually deceiving them for a very, very long time. I do not know why it's taking very long time. Lee, why it's taking very long time for the people of South Sudan to understand that the problem of economic, the problem of security, the problem of governance, all this political turmoil that we are experiencing in our country is not the ministers, is the kleptocracy, is the ring that President Kiir have created it so he can loot, so he can do what he wanted to do and remain in power until he died. I don't know why our people cannot understand that. So I want you to make a note that actually the ministers, okay, Minister of Finance, they are not the problem. They are not the problem. We said this long time ago, and we continue to saying it. President Kiir will hire somebody, and it will make a pre-deal actually, hey, you come be a ministers, but later when things are getting tough, because things are going to continue to get tough anyway, because the money are not being deposited to Central Bank of South Sudan. People are not getting their salaries. Things are going to get tough. He knows, that's it's going to happen. So he will hire you to come and take you know, care of that ministry, you get your whatever you want to get. You can be bribed, you get more money too, and then you can come on your first day, you know, hey, I will do what I can do to fix this economy. Good words, you know, speaking, giving beautifully speech, but at the end of the day, a month later, 2 months later, 1 year later, not delivering nothing. You cannot do anything. And actually, we advise, you know, brother Barnaba, you know, back that actually you are not going to do it, because the problem is not you. The problem is not the ministry. The problem is not that South Sudanese, they are not expert in economic. There's a lot of genius South Sudanese. But the problem is with President Kiir. The problem is with J1, because there is no way whatsoever a country cannot produce its own food. A country cannot have a policy to farm, cannot produce its own food. There is no way a country of 12, 13 million people can depend on a foreign country, can depend on a neighboring country to import food, while their land are more fertile than that, you know, neighboring countries. And I said this a lot of times. South Sudan, 80% of its land is qualified for agriculture, very fertile, but it is a policy of President Kiir that actually he wanted to reward, you know, the protector of his government, as I call it, Yori Kakwate Museveni, because this is the guy that actually made a deal with. You know, I want to rule for life, but is anything that happened in my country? If people of South Sudan rise up, if they try to overthrow me, if they try to depose me, if there is an uprising, you know what? I want you to step in to protect my presidency. And that's why I have to reward you this. You know, you farm, let your people farm in Uganda, and let South Sudan be a consumption, be a consuming, you know, consuming country. So thing will come from Uganda. The gig will come from Uganda. Flour will come from Uganda. Matoko, whatever, the banana, the fish, the milk, everything, meat, everything will come from Uganda. While we have a lot, actually, we have more than what can feed Uganda and Kenya and all entire Africa in South Sudan. We can actually have fish farm. We have Nile. We have agriculture. We have cattle. You know, we have forestry. We have rain. We have good soil. We have all these things. We have minerals. We have everything that, you know, for services delivering. But this is the plan, as I said, and I want you to get this. This is the plan from these men Kirmaya did, that actually wanted to give the person that I call a protector of his presidency, because he's no longer trusting. He cannot trust people of South Sudan, of course. He cannot trust SSPDF, of course, because he's not paying them salaries. How he can trust them? Because these people are so not happy. Okay, they are so not happy. The shop, you know, the nation is so not happy. So he knows actually these people one day they will say no, get the hell out here. It will be erupted like a volcanoes. South Sudanese will go to the street from all across the country. It will erupt it like volcanoes, and he is aware of that. That's why he's dependent on Kenya and Uganda, because people of South Sudan continue to suffer. And actually, this is the something that he has planned. Some people will wonder why are we bringing flour from Uganda? Why are we bringing all this from Uganda? Why? You are asked the question, but the simple answer is here. It's here. President Kiir wanted to be that way, so you can be oppressed, so you don't have any other way. You always thinking about your well-being, your secure well-being. Insecurity in the country, there is no food, economic meltdown. They are dividing the money of oil among themselves. Oil is not the only natural resources that we have. We have plenty of natural resources in our country, but this is the plan that he has. So part of hiring and firing a minister of finance is part of this. Is one of the plan that actually minister of finance will be brought in, and then it will work, and then later he can hire. Imagine, just try to sit to yourself as a person with mental conviction. Think about yourself. Nazdel Kulu, all these people in South Sudan are the one that wrong, just except President Kiir is the one that right. All these ministers of finance are wrong. Is President Kiir that is the only one that right? Just think to yourself. I want you to think to yourself. Of course not. You know, you will have an answer, you know, opposite than the way that President Kiir actually. So he will fire this guy now, and he hired a new guy. His name is Awou Daniel. I like the name Awou, by the way. You know, he hired Awou Daniel, and Awou Daniel, he was a minister of petroleum, and we all well know that guy. He's well educated. He has actually a chemical engineering. He studied chemical engineering, petroleum engineering. He's very good with that. But guess what? People of South Sudan, they call him actually Black Chinese. This is the nickname that I came across. They call him a Black Chinese. Why they call him a Black Chinese? I have nothing against him, but I just wanted to tell people. They call him Black Chinese because when he was Minister of Petroleum, he has been there, working in petroleum for a very long time. He does not implement agenda that will benefit the people from Ruwing area, the people from producing oil. It does not, because there is a lot of pollution. If you are aware of that, there is a lot of pollution in the area, and women, they are delivering the children without limbs. There's so many things that the environmental is affecting people in Unity State, and he hasn't done anything. When people complain, when people start talking, even the 2% is not going to the people. When the population in the area, when they complain about these issues, he never do anything about it. He's always sided with Chinese companies, and that's why he was called the Black Chinese. I want you to take that. This guy, Engineer Awou Daniel, is a Black Chinese. So I wonder, when I saw that, an appointment that President Kiir actually fired back economist, the guy that worked in the bank. And we, of course, we told him last time, back, you're not going to fix this. Nothing, you are going to fix it. Even when you said that, I am going to force people who are taking money out of country to Uganda, to Kenya, those who have their families there, and they just, is stimulating the foreign country economy, because they are getting their salaries and they are spending it outside. They are renting apartments, they are renting houses, they are buying, they are taking kids in the school there. So you are actually boosting Uganda economy and Kenyan economy. And Bach actually said in his statement, when they did the celebration, for him as a newly appointed minister, he said, actually, I'm going to do what it takes, to fix this. And part of fixing that, if necessarily we are going to give these people shilling, if they go to Kenya, shilling, then we give them shilling for Kenya to use in Kenya. In Uganda, we're going to give them shilling, because Uganda is using, they're using Uganda shilling. Kenya is using Kenya shilling. But did he succeed it? He did not succeed it. Were you able to pay the salaries of the armed forces? He did not. Did he succeed to pay the salaries of civil servants? He did not. Why? Because we said you are not going to do it, because there is a kleptocracy. Okay, ring that President Kiir created it. Elena Yed said it, and many have said it. Agaga Shul said it, that actually the oil had been sold in advance until 2027. So there is no way we can get the money. The oil has been sold out in advance, and the money has been deposited in Mr. President's account and his family and the closest ally to Mr. President, the one that are protecting. Even Uganda. Now I'm hearing rumors that actually Uganda troops, Bolmel has, bringing, of course, that collaboration with President Salva Kiir. He cannot do that by himself. They are bringing troops because he have seen South Sudanese now become more intense at their anger. People wanted to change, because we cannot live like this forever and ever. There is no way, you cannot you can be hostage for a very long time. All right. So, my brother, don't worry whether Minister of Finance is the Dinka or is the Nuer, is the Shuluk. It has no function anyway. Like Minister of Finance, hata wala ubiga Dinka, wala ubiga Nuerai, wala ubiga Shuluk, wala ubiga Baka, wala ubiga Mundo, wala ubiga Ndogo, wala ubiga Zande. He's not going to do anything. He's not going to do anything because he has no ability, So let's just keep that, tribal mindset aside, because I know the problem of South Sudan actually is not a tribal. It's Kiir with his regime is the one that created this. Because those who are eating, you cannot just categorize them. They are only Dinkas, They are Nuer there, they are Pajulu there, they are those Kakwa there, they are Bari there. There are so many, They are a group of kleptocracy, eating the nation. This is what you should focus, because actually the message of the tribal, it divides us more, and actually that entertain President Kiir agenda, and we don't want to go there, because that entertain his agenda. When people come and talk about Dinka and Nuer and all these things, he will go and talk to no-brainers people. Say, you see, these people, they don't like you, and I am your protector. But how we can be able to accommodate or educate the no-brainers that Salva Kiir actually is using, the no-brainers that Salva Kiir is using, that he's he's the protector. He's not protector for them whatsoever. So let's move on. So that's the thing. So this mechanical engineering, petroleum engineering guy, Mr. Awou, is not going to fix anything. He's a cash out. Again, black Chinese guy, he's a cash out because he did not do anything with the pollution oil in Unity State. He did not help the population. There is no 2%. There is no schooling. People are suffering there. He will not do anything. I know that for sure. I guarantee you. He's not going to do anything. He's another cash out. He might have get a check, big check now. This is a pre-deal, as I said. President Kiir made a pre-deal, and he said, "You know what? Come and get the blame." And you have seen already his statement. When I read his statement on iRadio when he said that these economic issues or financial issues is no person fault. Is no person fault, which is he wanted to say that is not somebody's fault. It's not a problem with someone. And he said we have huge, shortage. Deficit. We don't have money. Why you don't have money, Mr. Minister? Why we don't have money? And now you are saying that is no person's fault. No, there's nothing can be no one's fault. Something can be no person's fault. It's a natural disaster. If there is too much rains, we cannot say that is somebody's fault. But it still can be somebody's fault when we go to climate change and how we are impacting the environment. It still can be a human fault too. There is no way you can say that no. Okay, maybe if there is a volcano, that's the only thing that I can say is not your fault. Okay, right? Because something that happened naturally, right? That can be no person's fault. But anything that happening in South Sudan is somebody's fault. Yeah, it's somebody's fault, which is President Kiir. They are the one that taking the country in that direction. But because now you have been cashed out, you're getting your big check, and come and get all the blames. That's what it is. Get all the blame and go away. Because now you get, the reason that you're getting blamed because you are cash out. You get your check. You get your check and take all the blame. Say, oh, yeah, all this thing, I will go and talk. I will go and confront them. And I would say this and I would say this and I would say that. You get that. And that's it. You're getting all the blames. And the later, another one will get the blame as well. Somebody else will be hired after you get the fatigue with President Kiir, or somebody come in and there is more complaint. And these people who are complaining, actually, they know even the kleptocracy because they want things to go in their way. But if you continue, to entertain them and getting their thing, the way they want it, you can stay a little bit longer, like the other minister who stayed for 2 years and 3 years. I think the minister, the longest ministers of finance stayed in South Sudan, maybe a little over 2 years, but no one, exceeded that. They started Mina Artonachuen, Nas Kualatian, Nas David Dengaterbe, Nas Manoja, Nas Munu, Jalen Lagaga Chwil, wa Diar, wa Barnaba, and more, Changson, and so many, ministers of finance. They did not stay for that quite sometimes, because this is how things work. So, people of South Sudan, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. This is a scapegoat. When President Kiir is hiring and firing, this is the way, to divert the attention of the people. Say, no, Minister of Finance is the problem. I am going to fire this guy and I will bring somebody. And then the people will keep quiet. But I don't get it. Why people are obsessed with something called presidential decree. What does that mean? So it will decree somebody in, it will decree somebody out, but it has no change, it has no meaning, it will not change anything. And people are so, obsessed with that. Decree you in, decree that maybe, but just to go and beg? No, this country actually, it has a lot of resources that actually you don't need even to beg. If there is a right policies, and if there is an independent institution in the country, ministries of finance can be independent, justice can be independent, judicial can be independent, legislature can be independent, all this can be independent. Actually, we all can get fair share. You can get your fair share, and you don't need to go and beg this, corrupt, leader. Go there, oh, Mr. President, Walai President, all this. You don't need to beg him. This is your right. You have right of education, right of clean water, right of healthcare, right to have good school in the country, because this is how then resources can be used for the benefit of the nation. So you don't need to. But because lack of understanding, and that's why we are sitting here to say that no, you don't need to beg. This is your right, and it is time for us to rise up and say no, enough is enough, you know, and just it's not going to work. And because this kleptocracy, they will continue. They will continue ruining the country. They will continue doing this, and it is not good for us. It's not too long ago, we are the people actually in the region, we were fighting for justice, liberty, and prosperity. You know, we were fighting for this main three things: justice, liberty, and prosperity. What happened to those? Because President Kiir decided that one man show. He wanted to do it the way he wanted to do it. And that's why there is no way we can have a country with security. We can be secure in the country. We can build a very vibrant economy so people of South Sudan can have an opportunity for job opportunity. Then nobody need to, all the citizens, they don't need to flood to the nation level, nation capital, to go to Juba. Everybody will stay in their own place, and they are still getting their fair share. That's how it is. But no, all the budget will be spent in J1. All the budget will be spent, majority of budget will be spent on the national level. That's why people of South Sudan are suffering. You see many people coming to Juba, all this thing. And the worst thing, this kleptocracy, culture, is infecting. It start infecting, the nation. It start infecting the young intellectual. And now I can see the young intellectual. They are soliciting to acquire position through them, because they will go and talk and lobby. So I want to be a minister. I want to be brought as a minister, or I want to be a director. I want to be a governor. And that's a bad habit. Actually, they are teaching our nation. They are teaching youth. They are teaching our people bad habit. Bad habit. And it's going to be a culture. As you see in East Africa, in Kenya, they have a culture of corruption that will never end, despite the fact that they have democracy. But that culture of corruption, it is not going to go away, because they inherit that. And this is a bad cancer. I've seen that when our people in our ages who still call themselves youth. We are not youth anyway, because when you are in 40s, you don't call yourself youth anymore. Youth are, start from 13, 14, 15, 20, 30s, till maybe 35, 37. You should call those youth. But, we need to add a kid. Somebody in 40, now I'm in my 40s, why should I call myself, youth? Because we are no longer youth. We are not youth. But right now, people, in our age, they are infected with this, they are soliciting with uncles, and they are doing that. Leave alone, the ladies, J1 has become I don't know, center of hawkers, because president is the one that involved in that, it started with the Jawir and many girls. Now you hear different names that I haven't heard before, Nyandeng and so forth. It's really worse. It's worsening, and it's getting bad and bad, every day. And that's why people with moral courage, and you got to have that moral courage. You have to have that moral courage. People with moral courage, people with the obligation, you got to listen to your heart and say, no, I don't want to involve in this, because I've seen these individuals, in our age, they are trying to inherit that, and they are trying to inherit that. You see what they are doing? They are bringing their children. Look what happened to Jonglei State. The deputy governor fired, and they are fired. This, I don't know, man, how to explain. It's really hurting. Look, this kleptocracy, they are even fighting among themselves. Let's say, look, the deputy governor of Jonglei State, is somebody actually Makwelwe. It relates. Is Makwelwe is the one that brought that person, to be a deputy governor. Look now what's happening right now. They are fighting. People who are close to Kwalmanyang, they keep complaining. And now that person was removed by presidential decree, 2 days ago, and replaced by who? By daughter of Kwalmanyang Jok. The guy that said, actually, Mr. President, now you can rule to the end of your life. So now they are grooming their children. Leave alone President Kiir. Of course, his daughters are, involving with his scan of the money and all this thing, takhlis jumruki and taxation in Mombasa, and his son, of course, in J1 as the deputy director of finance, and you name it. And his brother-in-law is a deputy director of national security, and his cousin also there. So many, and now is the same models continuing. Kwalmanyang complaining, and now his daughter, from being a minister of, I don't know, minister of health or minister of information in Jungle State, now she became a deputy, governor, and they continue. Kalaptakra themselves, they are fighting too. Do you know that? This is a very fertile time for people of South Sudan to rise up, because now Kalaptakra themselves in J1 Zatu, they are not happy. They are just kuluzul, yani they are racing. They are just racing. Everybody wanted to get this and they want to get that, and they running out of money because now they sell the oil and they deposit them under their account, and a little money that is coming, everyone wanted to get it. Okay, why I'm saying that, now you see Bolmel is bringing the army. These are rumors, but any rumors in South Sudan is likely to be the fact later. Bolmel now is bringing the army, Ugandans, defense forces. Why? Because people of South Sudan are mad, are so upset. The SSPDF are so sad. They are not getting the salaries. They are not getting the salaries. Not too long ago, when the wounded hero, when they went to Ministry of Finance and they protested, and they were called actually by Minister of Finance that actually this self-proclaimed, which is I don't like. But later he now apologized after he has been fired by President Kiir. He apologized to them. Now they are bringing these Uganda Defense Forces because Kiir is afraid. He's afraid something might happen. He's afraid people might go to the street. He's afraid the SSPDF might, do something, to kick him out too, because you cannot live without salary for a very long time. You work. This is enslaved. He is enslaving people actually in the country, while there is resources, and resources are for him and for his family and the one that are protecting him. And guess what, people of South Sudan? Ugandan forces, when they come to South Sudan, they get paid. They get paid in dollars. They get paid a lot of money. While our own troops, while our own SSPDF, they don't get paid. Just look at that. I want you to pause and think about that. What is that? That's very unpatriotic. Kiir doesn't love South Sudan. Kiir doesn't care about South Sudanese. Okay? So he cares about the one that to bring to come and protect his power. Despite the fact that SSPDF, they have been protecting him, but he doesn't care about them in a way. You see, they are bringing troops to come. Why? Because there is more division now within, the kleptocracy. There is more division. Now, Bolmel have a lot of differences with Hussein Abdul Baghi. Do you know? One of the 5 vice presidents. Bolmel is not comfortable with Hussein. He's not comfortable with Hussein. So Bolmel want to remove Hussein. Okay? He want to remove Hussein. He want Hussein out there. But how he can do that? He can do that by influencing, President Kiir, by doing something, by showing his ego, by showing his power. I can do this. Where in the world a vice president can be threatened by a special envoy of the president? You see, it's something you don't see. But this is what's happening now. So they want to fire Hussein Abdul Baghi, and they want to hire Lama Kol. Because Hussein Abdul Baghi has been there for a long time. Now they want to bring new one. They want to bring new one who will come and say, well, yeah, Kiir Mayar, well, yeah, my friend, well, yeah, and all this, well, yeah, so they can have another term. This is the plan. So threat, and then they start having more threat, and they're having more threat. All this, people of South Sudan need to say enough is enough. You cannot be held hostage. You cannot be hostage to President Kiir. You cannot be hostage to anyone. Peace agreement has not been implemented. There is no insecurity in the country. They don't have a policy of producing, of delivering services, of doing something. We talk about this. We give ideas. Some people they said, "Oh, Jonkor, you guys talk and and criticize president. Be constructive." Yes, we have been constructive. We point out the wrong thing that they have done. We point out the corruption. We point out the insecurity. We point out the division that they have created in the country. And we give them advice. Even I have been giving them advice very long time. And I said, Jama, we are a landlocked country. If you want to function, because they are not interested. If they were interested, my brothers, the people that are saying that to me, that be constructive, I have been constructive a very long time. I have been giving advice, actually. Okay? But you know what? They have a selective hearing. Do you know what does that mean? They can hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear what they don't want to hear. That's selective hearing. Okay? We have advised them. We said, okay, President Kiir, no one would even complain and talk about him if it was smart enough. If you want to people of South Sudan to grow, it would have a policy, okay, so we can produce food locally. It would have encouraged production locally, agriculture, other minerals. We have copper, we have gold, we have all this. But above all, it would have instructed, okay, economists in the country to diversify economy. How? Using the oil money, okay, to invest in agriculture. Should be a policy of the government, because when you invest in agriculture, you produce food locally. More agriculture. Zura, Awou, I call the guy name Awou, millet and all this thing, rice, okay, banana, beans, lubia, and all this thing, can be grown in our country. And then now, if we have food, efficiency, if we have produced food, if we are producing food locally enough, and that food actually to go to the market, that food actually, if a South Sudan wanted to buy lubia, beans, white beans, he wanted to buy rice, and it's locally, he's not going to need $1. You're not going to need $1 to buy rice from a will. You're not going to need $1 to go to Awarial and bring a lot of fish to Juba market. You're not going to need $1 to bring banana from Yei. You're not going to need $1 to buy simsim, sesame from a will, or foods, granuts. You're not going to need $1 to go and buy dura sorghum from Rang because they produce it in big, huge. You're not going to need it. It's very simple. And then now you people get started, dollar and dollar and dollar. Dollar is the problem. Dollar is not a problem. The problem is Salva Kiir. Dollar is not a problem. Why? Salva Kiir did not have a clear policy, to have a local production. If you have that local production, your pound would be stronger in the region. One, because you are using your pound to buy your own local, and you are encouraging the local farm. They will get rich because now they're farming and they're bringing the market and we are buying from them. And now the Ministry of Commerce will have a restriction: do not bring lubia to South Sudan. Do not bring beans. We have beans in South Sudan. Do not bring rice. We have our rice. Do not bring dura sorghum. Do not bring flour. We have degi in our country. Uganda is not going to bring that stupid matoko or all these things. They are not going to bring it. But President Kiir doesn't want that. He wants to suppress you, because now if there is a local production, if we are producing locally, people are going to be more free mind. There is no psychological, hunger and problems in the country. And now if there is more stimulation in our economy, people are going to be advanced, thinking up, development project. We can enter the other production, this is the thing that we are going to be thinking about. We are not even going to be thinking just only food. But this is his fear, though, because the man is a dictator. He wanted to rule for life. This is how he's thinking. If these people their stomach is filled, and if they are stable mentally, and if they are not worried about food, if they are not worried about security, they become threat to my seat. You see, that's the concept. That's what he has in his mind. Yeah. These people, if they are well off, if the millet in the country produce the dura and manga and all these things. People are full, and then now they will be thinking about my seat. If there is a schools and our students are debating in high school and universities and they are good, and now they start talking about the real freedom, what it means to be free. And then they start talking about the history that we struggled so we can be free, so we can be just, we can be liberal, and we can have that prosperity. It starts with prosperity and security. If there is a prosperity, which is mean that developmental project economy is growing, and then people are safer, there is no fighting, there is stability. Investors will come from outside, from Asia, from Europe, from America. They will invest because everybody wanted to go invest where there is peace and security. And if they are investing, they are creating job to South Sudanese, whether it's pharmaceutical or closing companies or, uh, you know, and if they start doing that, because now if they get labor market cheaper, they hire people cheaper, of course they are going to come and invest in our country. And actually, when you have a great mind in power, you will actually encourage the investors to come. Hey, come and invest in my country. But you know what? The most important thing, you have to employ 95 or 97% South Sudanese. Yep. And then South Sudanese will be good with that. They are working. But President Kiir doesn't want that. South Sudan is very simple to be safe. It's very simple to be secure, stable. But he's not interested in stability. Because whenever there is stability, that is threat to his kursi, to his seat. That threat, he want to keep us fighting. He want to create communal violence. And I keep asking this question over and over again. When was the last time you have seen citizens die in huge number and President Kiir flew to go and visit and comfort them and just start talking and denounce the violence and said, no, my people, we have been fighting. And I have said this when he gave his speech on the on the Independent Day. When he said that, you will not cross the border again seeking refuge because of war. You will not cross the border again because of hunger, to go to UN camp and eat. You will not cross the border again to go and look for a place that's secure as long as I am president. That's what Kiir said. Just go back and listen to that speech. Has he fulfilled that? Absolutely not. He's not interested. He is interested creating conflicts so he can remain in power. That's why President Kiir survived. President Kiir survived when there is division, and he will continue to do division. Trust me, I swear to God, people of South Sudan are very generous, are very smart, are very strong, are good people. The only thing that we are lacking is somebody with heart, a leader with a heart, a leader that actually has empathy, a leader that actually very generous and diplomatic with his people, a leader that care. That's what we are lacking. But Kiir imposed himself like Dr. John. Who is the problem? Somebody sitting on your neck, or somebody actually asking, get out of my neck? Of course, somebody sitting on your neck. He imposed himself in sitting there and blocking everything, blocking developmental project, blocking freedom of speech, blocking and blocking and blocking and creating insecurity in the country so he can remain in power. And that's why I'm saying with that generosity that we have, he took that opportunity, he took advantage, and he continued to take advantage because people of South Sudan, they said, oh, well, Zol Betana Kabir. No, it's not. Zul Kabir or an elder, it can be person with wisdom, person who care about the future generation. But he does not care about the future generation. He wants to be buried with this country. When he died, he wants South Sudan to be buried with him. He wants no economy, no security, nothing. Even cultural. He wants South Sudan culture to die. Why I'm saying that? Because the culture is start when you invest in future of your generation, the country. Like now, those in the government, their children are taught outside of the country. In Uganda, in Kenya, in South Africa, in all these countries. This is where their children are taught. And I asked a very simple question last time. What culture do they want to promote? What culture do they want to teach their children? Because at 5 years old, or 6 years old, going to first grade, kindergarten in Kenya or in Uganda, what history is going to learn? It's a Ugandan history. It's a Kenyan history. If he's in South Africa, he's going to learn, about South Africa, Stockholm, Mandela, and all these things. These are the things that are going to learn. But what about you? What about you, my brother? What about you, uncle? What about us? What about our struggle? Our struggle in 1947, our struggle in 1955, our struggles also in 1983. Do you don't think that your child deserves to learn that? You don't think? So now you fought for nothing then. You did not fight for justice and liberty, prosperity. You did not fight for decency. This is what I can say. Because if you were fighting for these, and then it would have been a matter of concern for you, for your child to learn this. You wouldn't even think about taking your child to Uganda or Kenya. Okay, if you want to take your daughter or your son to Kenya or Uganda, after he finished general education, he graduated from high school, he go and study at the university, that's fine. But to take him as younger, he's going to learn somebody else. And that's your failure because you were in charge. You didn't want to construct schools. You didn't want to have a curriculum. You didn't want to have clean water because when you are taking your children there, because I know there are services in Kenya and Uganda. That's why you are taking your children there. But it's always not about that only. You could have done those here. So your kids can go to school here, and those who don't have money and children of martyrs and orphan can go to school together. But I know you have selective hearing. Even those no-brainers, they have selective hearing. Whatever I say here, he's just talking there in the West. But this is the campaign. I say this. This is the campaign that, as John Cormayon, this is the campaign that I will never regret. Whatever I said here, whatever I say here, I will never regret because I know I'm doing the right thing. I know I'm doing the right thing. This is the campaign I will never regret. Despite the fact that they are calling me any name, they're calling me whatever, I know you will come to your senses at the end of the day. Those who are opposition, those who are actually anti-us, they will come and they will say, you were right. I said this a long time ago. I'm not a messenger of God, but I said this. Those of you who are Christian, when Jesus was crucified, you remember the soldiers, the Roman soldiers, the one that were slashing him, beating him, and making him hold the cross. And all of a sudden, Jesus was taking the place that to be crucified. And then they put this big cross and they tied him up there, and and soon they tied him there. And when Jesus cried, on the cross, and then it was dark all over. And then the earthquake, okay? And the temple crack in the middle. And those soldiers, they were the one that were beating him. They said shaky. They said shaky. They fear, their heart got troubled. And they said, wow, true, it was Son of God. We have denied him. We were beating him. Look what happened. It got darker. The earthquake, the temple is cracked in the middle. I'm not telling you the temple is going to crack or there will be earthquake at the end of my message. But what I'm telling you, people tend not to accept the truth just simply because for the short term, because now they are getting something from J1 and they are getting this and they are getting that. And they said, oh, this guy is an idiot. Let him talk. And he's just talking there. He has no point to make. But I do have a point to make. But you will come to your senses. You become like that soldier, soldiers, Roman soldiers. When they said, oh, true, it was Son of God. They will not say Jonkor was Son of God, but they will say that Jonkor was telling the truth. You will say that Jonkor was telling the truth. Jonkor and his colleague, they were telling the truth. And I will stand with truth. Because this is the truth that we have been fighting for. This is the truth that Salva Kiir Mayardit did 38 years. He is fighting for. This is the truth that Dr. John Garang Mabiora Tem was fighting for. Joseph Lago was fighting for. All these historic leaders, one who died and one who's still alive. This is what they have been fighting for. They were fighting for the truth. Then if we were fighting for truth, then what is wrong then? What is wrong than allowing this process to take place? What is wrong than delivering the services? What is wrong than allowing people in South Sudan to express? What is wrong to build our country? What is wrong to listen to one another? What is wrong to debate and come up with good modality and ideas that will take our country to the next level? What's wrong? Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. The only thing that wrong is the greedy, the greedy of this kleptocracy, the greedy of President Kiir, the greedy of those who are in charge, because their hearts is blind and they cannot see the truth from the wrong. Their heart is blind because your heart can be blind. Yes, we see with our eyes, but sometimes your mind can be blind too, because if you are your mind somewhere and your heart somewhere, even though there is something in front of you like this, you will keep asking, "Ya Jama, there was a cup here. I'm looking for that cup." And that cup is in front of you. You see it in your own eyes. But because your mind and your heart is somewhere, this is what happened to them. Their mind and their hearts to steal. When they see the dollars, they would see the money, they shake it. They can see the truth in front of them right there. People are dying, people are suffering, orphan, children martyrs. There is no school, there is no hospital, there is no clean water, dirty road, and we have the money. But that's the truth. That's something that to be done. That's the right thing to be done. But because their hearts are blind, they don't see that. The only thing that they see is to take the money and take their spouse to Uganda and Nairobi and go and have fun and put the money in their bank account, and fill their pocket and pocket and pocket. That's what they can see because their hearts and their minds are blind. Once again, this is the campaign that I will never regret. And thank God for allowing me, or for making me to see and making my mind to speak up for the truth. I know there's a lot of South Sudanese within the country, outside the country. There's a lot inside that they want to speak. There is a lot there they admire what we do. There are a lot that they admire. If they have that opportunity, they can even speak better than I do. They can even stand up and speak, but they do not. They are oppressed. They can be killed. And that's why I have to remain the voice of voiceless. And we'll continue this. There are some who have gave up already. They said, you have been campaigning, you have been talking years and years. Now what happened? Nothing happened. I tell them, you have a short vision, but I am a long-term vision. Good thing come to those who wait. Let's continue. Let us not be distracted. Let us not get fatigued. Don't be afraid. Keep having faith. Don't be afraid. Keep having faith. Good thing will come. And it will come. And it will come. When you rise up, I know you will come. It will come day that you will wake up and say, no, you know what? Enough is enough. I have been blind for a long time. I have not been listening to my heart for a long time. But I should do the right thing. So President Kiir, my dear brothers and sisters, it will continue political deception as long as you are allowing that to happen. Yesterday, appointed Barnaba, back. And today is appointing Awou Daniel. And tomorrow he will fire Awou, and he will fire Awou, and he will appoint somebody else. But the problem is not fixed. So I want you to know this. I want to leave you with this. The problem are not ministers. The problems are not people of South Sudan. The problem is kleptocracy that President Kiir has created. Hakuma al-Bolisiya, Hakuma al-Lusus. The problem is corruption that is created. The problem is insecurity that is created and division that is created so he can be on the top, he can rule for life until he died. Because now if people of South Sudan are stable, they will take this country to the next level. But it's something that he is not interested, because it doesn't need any threat to the seat. It doesn't need any threat to the seat that he is holding. That's why it will keep us apart to struggle, okay, until he died and leave this country in chaotic situation. And that's what it is. So with that, my dear brothers, let us keep fighting. Let us unite. I know it seems very difficult for you to unite. A lot of us, some people are bitter from one another, but we don't want to allow Kiir, because that entertain him when we allow that, because he gets so excited when he's dividing us. His division is not even just only now in regional. His division become even within the clans. Within the clans, as long as he can divide anyone to remain in top, it will continue to do that. So, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, Kiir must go. And Kiir cannot go if you don't speak. Kiir cannot go if you don't rise up. Kiir cannot go if you and I and others can collaborate together and go to the street and say enough is enough, Yahi. Go to the, to the hell with this corruption. And I know South Sudanese are good people. When we have a good leader with empathy, we are going to unite and we are going to do what it takes to move our country to the next level. Because South Sudanese, they love one another. They care. We belong together. Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. Next week with another episode of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Now, I will leave you with this young man that actually has the new song. And this is the better way. Sometimes, we can promote our young actors because they don't have any way, promoting them. The country is, with the corruption, there is no way they can get anywhere. So let me go ahead and bring this young also, because they will be good. So excited.
Give me the love that I deserve. My darling, look at the police. My darling, look at the police. My darling, look at the police. Give me the love that I deserve. Yangu chingu baro, nyachanya. Yangu chingu baro, nyachanya. Yangu chingu baro, nyachanya. Yaman, kayin na wait by a pure way. Yaman, kayin na wait by a way. Yaman, kayin na wait by a way. Yaman, kayin na wait by a way. Yaman, Kuchin mad that folly, Kuchin mad that folly, Kuchin mad that religion, Kaya chayama. Kaya queer mo, pamatunan patunan chiweranya. Kunachin nam saman kayo nabati, Chumichin saman kayo nabatima. Napakuchala polima, Napakuchala poli, Nidawin, Napakuchala poli, Nadawin, Napakuchala poli. Give me the love that I deserve. Nadawin, Napakuchala poli. Nadawin, Napakuchala poli. Nadawin, Napakuchala poli. Give me the love that I deserve. Yangu chingu baro, nyachanya. Yangu chingu baro, nyachanya. Give me the love that I deserve. Right. Off key. Good girl.